Hi, I know I mentioned that I would probably be posting something over the weekend before the end of week 3. So here we are, Sunday of week 3 going into Monday of week 4. And the theme for this weekend has been sabotage. And it's probably not the most positive word I could be using right now. I think what is happening is I am completely burned out and wrung out. And that comes from a variety of factors. Been getting really poor sleep over the last few weeks, and really not spending a lot of time, or even any significant amount of time, really kind of taking a break. When I get a break, it's because I'm having dinner with my family on some night, not every night, or because I've just gotten to a point where property and contracts and torts are all running into one another. And that happens pretty often, actually, in terms of how often they run together. It is not often how I take breaks. So this weekend, going into Friday, we didn't have any class on Friday. So this was kind of nice. I was planning to use a little bit of that time to spend some time with my kids, take them swimming, promised to take them swimming. The youngest just broke into hysterics because it started raining and the pool was going to be closed and everything else. Drama, 8-year-old drama. And so I spent a lot of my time on that and trying to sort of fix his head about that. The night before, I had gotten really poor sleep. I had gone to bed maybe around 1:30, which is pretty normal for me. 1:30 is my normal bedtime. And then woke up half an hour later and was just in such a fit half an hour later, and ended up getting into a really nonsensical argument with my husband over whether or not he could actually help me fall asleep and whether I wanted him to stay up with me, because he's been very kind whenever I can't sleep to stay up with me and try to help soothe me into sleep. And I just have been feeling really guilty that he's been doing that and that he feels the need to do that. And it's very kind of him to do it. I'm very supportive, but it's also affecting him. And right now he can't help me if he's not able to stay awake. Sorry, I'm tossing my ring around because I'm fidgeting a lot. So walking into Friday morning, I had not had much sleep. Had been having nightmares when I was sleeping, to the point where I'm getting nauseous in the middle of the night, having a panic attack or something like that. So that's been waking me up, and it's been very difficult. So Friday, I took some time and went swimming with my youngest son. My oldest went to Denver Comic-Con, which was very awesome for him. And the swimming, the physical activity really helped. And I had a couple of people before the bar exam just tell me, keep with your workout routine, whatever you're doing to work out, just keep with that during the bar exam time because you're really going to need it for the stress relief. And for me, taking a half hour to an hour to belly dance or to do kettlebell lifts or whatever the hell I was doing before just seemed like, oh my God, I'm wasting all this time, because the way I think about it is I'm spending the time not just working out, but then getting ready to work out and then getting cleaned up after working out and all of that stuff. It just takes time that I don't want to have to waste. So I haven't been doing it. Going swimming on Friday was really good for me. Really good for me because it expended a lot of energy and made me feel a little bit healthier in myself and a little bit more grounded in my body. And I know I talked about groundedness a couple days ago. Maybe I should practice what I preach, sort of thing. But walking into Friday night, I knew I was going to go out with some friends and reconnect with some people, including people who watch this video, so they know who they are. And it was great. It was wonderful to be surrounded by that energy and those people, the people that really matter to me, and the people who I know have been very supportive of me taking this step with my life. When I got home, though, even though I fell asleep on the couch watching Doctor Who, which has been sort of my bar exam go-to comfort show is Doctor Who, especially David Tennant. I fell asleep, and then the cat knocked something off the table, and it was a crystal glass that I got during my wedding, and it shattered all over the place at 2:30 in the morning. At that point, I knew I was getting ready for a mock test that the university was going to be running the next morning, which was going to be 2 essays and 2 PTs, which I really could use the help in terms of, allocating time and whatnot amongst all those things. And I was really looking forward to doing that. The problem is that once the cat woke me up at 2:30 with the really horrible sleep that I've been getting and the bad nightmares and everything like that, I popped 2 Tylenol PM and just passed out. The good news is that I slept for 8 hours, which 8 hours is really rare for me. I'm usually a 6-hour girl. And that was very helpful, and it was really, really good. But I also ended up missing the mock test, which was not so good. I really needed to do that, and I feel guilty that I didn't do that. So maybe I need to deal with how I deal with guilt right now too. On top of that, I missed out on some good study time, both on Friday night and on Saturday during the day, because I had made a promise to my youngest, who loves the Renaissance Festival, that I was going to take him to the Renaissance Festival after my mock test. Well, we ended up going, which was good. Again, walking, hiking, all of that was really good for me. But I got home last night and I was just burnt. I was just tired, and tired physically, and I probably needed that physical push, but also tired mentally, because I had a lot of time to think over the last 2 days about why I'm doing this. And so that lends itself to a lot of soul searching that I probably don't have time to do, and I probably do need to do it, because I do need to check in with my motivations for why I'm doing this. And in particular, why I'm getting so overwhelmed with the Barbary assignments and the DU assignments and the assignments for everybody. One of the things that's getting lost in all of that, which I think dovetails back into why this weekend was kind of sabotage for me, is that one of the things that went wrong the last time I took the bar exam was I got really distracted by what everyone else was telling me I should be doing. That I should be studying this way, I should be making flashcards, I should be making outlines, no, I should be doing this, no, I should be doing that. And what you find, especially if you're doing a commercial program, is that each person that you encounter in that commercial program, whether they be the lecturers, the websites, the whatever, or the people who are taking the program with you, get conflicting amounts of advice. And the biggest piece of advice that I was determined to do this time around was to make this my own, make it mine, do it my way. Yeah, there are some things about the bar exam that are very clear-cut ideas about what you should do and how you should study, but you need to adapt those to who you are. And I know I kind of said that before in the last video about location, about finding a place that's really going to work for you. And I think the more self-aware you are, and the stronger and more secure you are in your own self-awareness, the easier it's going to be to sort of stick up for that. And I have not been doing a great job of that over the last 3 weeks because, I failed the bar exam twice before. So maybe there was something in that whole equation that I wasn't doing, or I wasn't doing right. Now, what I figured out is what I wasn't doing right were 3 main things. First of all, I wasn't practicing. I wasn't doing hardly any practice essays or practice MBEs, and when I was getting so discouraged by my scores, by my lack of scores, by my lack of knowledge. And so the perfectionist in me was also like, well, I'm not going to do those until I know everything. You're not going to know everything. Even though the bar exam tests you on everything, there are some things that you can probably get away with not knowing and still survive. And waiting to practice before you know everything is not really a great idea. The second thing was that I was doing it everybody else's way. So I was succumbing to the intimidation and the peer pressure and the overall bar exam crazies that everyone else is going through. So I see everyone else reading this one property outline, and so I drop everything I'm doing and I go read that, because after all, they must know something that I don't know. That wasn't helpful, because I wasn't doing it my way. I wasn't building the knowledge in the way that I need to for the way that I learn. I'm sorry, I'm really handsy today. And so when everyone else was making flashcards, I was doing flashcards too. And one of the things I realized is I was making flashcards not to learn or memorize anything, but it was like rule, 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 and I just statements of rules, which is not bad, but there was nothing in there that sort of made it mine and made it something that I can access and remember for the time the bar exam was going to be coming up. And the third thing, which sort of goes along with all that same energy, is I was not paying attention to myself. I was living in total denial of myself. And that's not to say, because remember a few videos back I did talk about how I dealt with the stress and the pressure on two different ends of the extreme. On one extreme, I was super, super overstressed. And then on top of that, piling on all this other stress on top of it. On the other hand, the second time around, I was just so lackadaisical about it, at least in my own viewpoint. And allowing myself to be distracted and allowing myself to be completely overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, but the way I wasn't dealing with the overwhelm. So now, this time around, I have made such significant strides in who I am and my own level of self-awareness and my own level of, I don't know, self-competency, if that makes any sense, that I need to adapt what Barbie is asking me to do, what DU is asking me to do, for myself, for my own level of writing, for my own level of studying, for the way that my brain works, and I need to stop comparing myself to other people. So the overwhelming sort of theme of that is to stop comparing myself to other people, because my experience is certainly not the same as everybody else's. My motivation is not the same as everyone else's. There are people out there who are taking the bar exam this time around who their dream is to be a trial attorney. If I never set foot in a courtroom ever again, it'll be too soon. Because that's not how I want to live my life. That's not what I want to accomplish. And I got distracted this week because I sat through a training course for for my mediation work, a required CLE that I had to attend, that really put a lot of ideas in my head about what I want to accomplish, with my work, which was probably perfect timing. It didn't feel like perfect timing at the time, but it felt like I really needed to see that right then, because I was going to be a little bit more motivated and a little bit better able to assess my level of motivation before delving back into studying. Once I decided to take a mental break for a day and a half, and we're talking, we have less than 40 days before the bar exam. And taking a mental break is probably, taking a day-long or a 2-day-long mental break is probably not the best thing that I could be doing right now, but I really felt like I needed to do that. I needed to see my friends. I needed to go to the Renaissance Festival with my son. I needed to go swimming. I needed to be out in the sunlight instead of locked up in a law school all day long. I needed to do a lot of things. And so as much as I want to say that it was sabotage, I do think that this was a recentering. And by taking a look at how I was doing my property flashcards 9 years ago, and then seeing how I'm doing them now, where I have, I can't see, there we go, where I have the subject, the particular subject that I'm doing, and then on the flip, creation of a fee simple absolute, I have the common law rule and the majority rule, because I'm responsible for knowing both of those and knowing what the differences are to those, and then being able to use that when I'm with my friends or when I'm with my husband or even my kids, and having them just quiz me on that. When it comes time to start memorizing, which is pretty much the 2 weeks before the bar exam, is when you are spending every day memorizing and drilling yourself. This will be a lot more handy than these were. These were not ever that useful for me. I don't think I've even looked at them since I originally wrote them. They're perfect, they're pretty, and I remember redoing them over and over and over so that they would be perfect and pretty. But these ones have little terms in it that relate to my real life, so that I can remember them a little bit easier, and they're a little bit easier for me to access. And I think since I took that mental sabbatical for 2 days, I have been able to attack the practice questions, especially the MBE practice questions, with a renewed sense of vigor. I started off at 28% correct in property. I mean, it's dismal. And I'm not saying that to be judgmental toward myself, but it really was, I wasn't feeling very good about it at all. After I started reassessing how I'm doing things and reprioritizing based on what is working for me, what is a good use of my time, what's a good use of my mental energy, I jumped from a 28% to a 61% in property. Still not there. I still need about a 70% or a 72% to feel safe on the bar exam, but 61%, that's not that difficult at all. That's not, all I need is a few more questions right to push it up into the 72% range. That's doable. Instead of feeling like I'm having to move mountains, I can, move a few rocks and pebbles at a time and still get the same amount of work done. Making it seem like an like a task that can be accomplished is going to be much more useful for me, and useful for me keeping myself engaged and ready. And that's one of my accomplishments this week. One of the other accomplishments is I'm actually understanding commercial paper. I don't know why there was always a mental block on commercial paper. It's actually not that difficult to understand. I think it's just because it's financial, it's money, and so therefore my head goes there in terms of not wanting to deal with it. So I'm dealing with it this time around and engaging with it a little bit more and thinking about it when I see a check or something like that. The more that I can relate it back to my real life, the more that it makes sense to me, and the more that I can actually deal with it and work with it. So my plan for week 4, starting tomorrow and into tonight even, is to spend some time really making effective use of my reading. I haven't been doing much of the reading, in part because it just feels like a waste of time. It's not really a waste of time if I keep myself engaged while I do it. Same thing with reviewing notes or whatever else. I need to engage myself either by making the flashcards or something where I feel like I'm connecting the dots. Because the more I feel like I can see the overall big picture pattern, the way that each of these concepts work and move with each other, the better I'm going to be able to work with them on the bar exam and really be able to see, oh, this issue then triggers these other 6 issues, and which of these 6 issues is important for me to talk about in addition to that one issue on the essays. Because I think it's not even that I go deeper into the analysis, it's that I need to be a little bit more directed in where I go into depth and where I don't need to go into depth. If it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. And maybe I just see a sentence saying it doesn't apply because of blah, blah, blah. But that's it. This is a much longer video than I was expecting, but I do think I kind of got everything into it that I wanted to. Today is Father's Day, so I spent some time with my dad this morning, and it's very bittersweet for him right now because of the death of my brother. I mention that a lot because it's on my mind, and it's one of the things that's motivating me. And it's motivating me to finally just do this, to feel like I have accomplished something, and to help my dad feel like all of his I'm getting really choked up, all of his support and all of his love and advice and guidance have been for something. And I know he already feels that, but this is something tangible that I feel like I can do that helps the rest of my family feel like this has been worth it. So, wasn't planning to get emotional at the end of this video. Wasn't planning to get emotional at all today. But the bar exam is an emotional thing, and one of the videos in the very near future will be about why accomplishing this will, I think, just that the rest of the dominoes will start falling. All the other pieces will start falling into place. And I want to talk about that in a separate video. But I'm sorry this has been so long, but thanks for spending time with me, and thanks for watching this.